So right now it's about 12:30 and I actually haven't eaten anything yet today. And I am about to eat this, which is going to be very nice. But before I do that, I just wanted to record this quick video and explain why I actually haven't eaten anything today and why you might want to do that as well. So there are really two main things. The first one is that when you eat food, a lot of your body's energy then goes towards digesting that food, obviously. And really what that means for if you're trying to focus and do deep work is that you have less energy and less focus for whatever you're trying to do because more of your energy is going towards just digesting the food and you can't really change that. And obviously it depends what you're actually eating, because generally if you're eating more carb heavy foods then there's more energy put towards that, and so you can focus even worse. And so if you're eating foods that are more high in protein and less carbs, it generally is better, such as what I'm eating right now is mainly just like eggs, right? So it's not like I'm eating a whole bunch of bread or something. And really that's one of the reasons why I don't eat until about now, is so that that first deep work block I have, I can fully focus fasted on my deep work. And the second part, which may actually be more important, especially if you're eating something that isn't really high carb anyway, is that if you don't eat, let's say, breakfast, then you just have less time between when you wake up and when you get to your first deep work block. And that doesn't sound like an amazing change, like it's not a really big change. Maybe you're saving, let's say, 30 minutes, but actually that has a really, really big effect on your focus and what you're able to get done. Because generally a really good rule is that your morning routine, or what you do first thing, should pretty much just prepare you for deep work as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And so if you can remove as much from that routine as possible, such as eating breakfast, and then you just eat later or eat more later, it really does have a big benefit, because when you get to work earlier, you have less distractions, less time to procrastinate it. You haven't done as many things in the day, so that you don't have any like easy or highly stimulating things to compare it to, and you can ultimately just get more done. Basically, you can get into like eating the frog or doing your hardest task first thing. And another part that sort of comes off this is that if you eat breakfast, a lot of you probably are doing something else, like watching YouTube or something like that, where it's kind of stimulating and a bit of a distraction at the same time. And I still do that sometimes as well, generally in trying to actually consume educational content. But let's just say that you do that. That obviously is going to then make the deep work you do after more difficult, because of how your brain compares the difficulty of, let's say, watching YouTube to doing the deep work. And obviously it's going to pick the YouTube over the deep work because it's easier and more stimulating and more rewarding short term. And so overall, what I would highly, highly recommend is that you delay your first meal, or at least your first big meal, until later in the day after you've done at least one deep work block. And it doesn't have to be as late as me or at the same time as me at like 12 or 12:30. It could be earlier for sure. And so if you're doing about 2 to 4 hours of deep work before you actually eat, that's going to have a very, very high ROI. And so I highly recommend that you try this out and see if it works for you. And if you do actually want some more advice about deep work or productivity and those kinds of things, there's a link in the description to join my free community and get my free course where you can actually learn more about these in a bit more detail and a bit more depth. And of course, no pressure if you don't want to do that. Have an amazing rest of your day.